Morning. Going live this morning. Kind of nice. Getting up and doing something productive this morning. So we're waiting for Mike Small. If you don't know who Mike Small is, he is the head men's golf coach at the University of Illinois right now. He's been a former PGA Tour professional as well as a Champions Tour professional. So we're just waiting for him to join in. Says he doesn't do a ton of Instagram, so might be a minute. Hopefully not too long. Hope everybody's having a good day. Oh, there he is. Perfect. Let's get him added. Right there. Oh, let's try that again. Here he is.
Boy,
Buddy?
this is a trip, man. Let me tell you.
welcome to 2020.
I don't know. Can you see me or not? I got half my head in there.
Yeah, we got most of your head in there.
All right.
How you doing?
Hold on. Is that better?
There you go.
All right, buddy. This is the first time for me, man.
Awesome.
You're bringing me along. I appreciate that.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Just been had meetings going on the last 2 hours, so it's more meetings now than I've ever had.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. So I gave a little bit of your backstory. I'm sure a lot of people on here know who you are, but some might not. So give us a little bit of your golf history and what you're doing now.
Well, a little of my golf history. Golf has been my life, dude, and I'm 54 years old, so I don't know how little I can make that. I'll give you the Cliff Note version. Been playing since I was 10 years old. I was a baseball player. My baseball team got into golf and got me hooked, and then my dad got me even more hooked, and I grew up in Danville, Illinois, played golf with my buddies, and was a competitive young athlete, I guess you can say, and I found my love in golf and used that to continue my competitive urge, and kept getting better and better, and well, it wasn't probably great, but kept getting better and better, and eventually kept, every level I proved myself, and got a chance to go to college, and by the end of my college career I got better and decided to play professional golf, and started on the smallest tours in the world, the little smallest mini tour events, and worked my way up all the way through all the different levels all around the world. Got on the Korn Ferry Tour, which was then the Nike Tour, and won twice there, and got on the PGA Tour and played on the PGA Tour, and then decided after that run that I was back on I lost my card after 1 year. I played 70 some tour events through my career, but decided I want to maybe get back to coaching. An opportunity came up, and where I could still play. When the AD hired me at Illinois, the idea was to keep competitive and keep playing, and have a little different niche than most college coaches had. So that was a blessing in disguise, where I've continued to play for the last 20 years while coaching, and coaching has been my number one priority. But after that, obviously, when there's time to compete, I do that, which feeds over into my coaching and helps me become a better coach. And I've played I think 10 majors and about 35 or 36 PGA Tour events, and now I think 13 or 14 Champions Tour events since while I do coach, and I continue to love to compete. And my
Think you're lagging a little bit, buddy. So how's your connection? There we go.
All right, I'm back.
There we go.
It said pause. Am I back now?
Yep, you're back.
Sorry, man. No, why does that happen? I have no idea. But
Sometimes connection goes bad.
But anyway, I didn't want to talk too long there. But yeah, it's been a long career. Golf's been great to me. It's everything I've achieved in my life outside my personal life. Even though my wife played golf when she was younger too, so we kind of did that when we were younger. But everything I've done revolves around golf, and I'm very, very thankful for that.
So let's talk a little bit about your golf career and then kind of get into your coaching at Illinois. So obviously, since you've coached, you talked about playing a lot and having less time to practice than you did when that was your full-time job. You've really, obviously, in Illinois, you're one of the players to beat. That when someone looks to play in an event and they see your name, they know, well, I've got to beat him if I want to have this chance to win this event. What do you think has allowed you to stay that sharp and that competitive, even though that's not your job anymore? I mean, because you've had an awfully nice playing career as a section professional, and we'll get into a couple more things. But what do you think allows you to play at such a high level still?
Well, I think there's twofold there. I think the profession I have, coaching some of the best young players and amateurs in the world, keeps me competitive. I may not be playing and practicing every day, but I'm still in the game mentally. I'm still in the game, working with them and watching their development and walking the rounds with them, and I'm still engaged. And then secondly, I practiced when I played professional for all those years. I practiced harder than anybody. I mean, I was VJ Singish
Yeah.
for time. So I think a lot of the time and effort I put into that still carries over today. When you try to master something that much, and then I got all with the PGA Tour, and then I lost my card, and even though I had lost it, I still felt like I had accomplished so much for those 10 or 15 years of playing professional golf that I think it still carries over. And it's like riding a bike, maybe. And I think I'm a very competitive person too. I don't like to. I hate to lose almost more than I love to win sometimes, which probably isn't good for my sanity. But it's something that I think when you combine the job and being around competitive, high-level golf every day, even though I'm not playing and practicing, still being engaged in it, along with having good fundamentals and having practiced and played all those years every day, all day, I think it carried over.
Well, and you come from a pretty competitive sports family. You're, if people don't know, and I'll give a little bit, your dad played basketball at the University of Illinois, and your brother played baseball. So I mean, there's a pretty competitive family, and I've played a lot of golf with your dad, and he's as competitive a person as I know. I mean,
Yeah.
guy, he I can remember him coming in the golf shop, and he'd stand in there and talk golf forever with me. He was always a good person to hang out with. But so as you've transitioned into coaching, when you took over the job at Illinois, they were not at the place that they're where you're at now. Where I mean, I think it's safe to say that you guys are considered one of the top teams in the country and have been for the last decade or relatively close. What do you think really changed in taking the team that you inherited and where you guys were into this team that you have now?
Well, that's a good question, Michael. And I think, obviously I've known you for a long time. I played a lot of golf back in Danville, and so you followed the program, and you know where we were. And it's something that when I took the job, I had to make sure with the university that we were going to commit to making this thing special. I wasn't going to give up playing professional golf and giving up my livelihood to come back and do something that was a side job or something that was a recreational sport, if you will. So the commitment was made to follow my lead and to use my intensity and my focus to build the program and facilities and donor relations and development and everything, and just make this try to make it a blue blood program, which we've been called the last few years, which is, I think, a big compliment by the Golf Week magazines and Golf World and even Golf Channel that refers to us that way. And that's what we wanted to do. So we had to have a plan. I mean, we had to have kind of a mission statement to change this thing. And you're right. When I came in, the program wasn't really clicking. It hadn't won a Big Ten championship since 1988. Last time I played was when Steve Stricker and I were on the same team together. Obviously, Strick was a big part of that team.
Sure.
Carried us a lot, but Illinois golf never really had a much tradition before that. Our last Big Ten championship was 1941. until we won in '88, and then we hadn't won again, and until I started coaching in 2000. And so it just wasn't, there wasn't a lot of momentum. There wasn't a lot of optimism. There wasn't a lot of success there. So you had to change the mindset with the players. You had to get people to believe in your vision. I had to work very hard and talk to a lot of people and connect with a lot of people and explain what I wanted to do. And, convince recruits, convince coaches around the country that we were serious about this. So when the facilities started coming along, and then the schedule changed and the budget changed, and like I said, all the things that we had to have, people started seeing it. I think that started helping. But I thank the first recruiting class that I ever had, because I started in the fall of 2000. So my first group that came in was in the fall of 2001 that I recruited. There were some players currently on the team that bought into our system. We had to change the mindset. There were guys on the team at that time that didn't really want to buy into the mindset. But we had to look past that, look into the future, and change things. And change is hard for people. And so it was a whole different atmosphere of Illinois golf the minute we started. And I learned from some great coaches that you only get, you got to state your cause right then at the very start. You can't wait to start later. So I'm grateful to the guys that were on the team that committed to the change, and I'm grateful for those recruiting classes that helped us come in. And the first year I was there in 2000, spring 2001, we finished like 10th in the Big Ten again. But then the next year, with some three good freshmen and some guys that bought in from the previous program, we finished second in the Big Ten championship, and we're leading the national championship after one round. Finished 18th. So the mindset started to change. And then we had some success for a couple more years, and then we kind of, again, with everything, kind of caught up with ourselves, and we kind of struggled for 3 years, and that was a big part of my career, is learning how to figure out what went wrong, and to go back and what did we do right when I first got there, and then how did we take this little dip. And then again, we had guys buy in, recruits buy in, and when you combine talent with purpose, I've always believed those two together give you the recipe for success. Scott Langley and Krista Forrest came in, along with Zach Barlow, who was my assistant later, and Matt Hoffman. These guys kind of bought into the change, and that we're tired of being in that little 2-year lag. And again, mindset change, commitment change, and you combine this purpose and talent. Then Luke Guthrie follows, and then Mason Jacobs comes, and then you got players, Brian Campbell after that, and Thomas Peters, and all these guys start coming. So you start building this brand, and then all of a sudden we've been to 12 national finals in a row. We've been to the top. We've been 4 Final Fours, I think 6 Elite Eights. We've been to 6 match plays, which I think is tied for the most, or maybe the most, and still in NCAA. And we've gone on to win 10 of our last 11 Big Ten championships. So the kids bought in the mindset changed. But it's something you live every day. And I learned a long time ago that in order to be a good program in college athletics, it has to be, the coach leads it, but the players have to follow. The players have to buy in and own it themselves, because I can't hit the shots. But I have to set the tone, and I have to bring it every day. I can't just bring it once or twice and skip a couple of days. The coach has to bring it every day, and if the coach brings it every day with that mindset, the players will follow. And and then you got Scott Langley winning the NCAA championship as an individual, and then Thomas Peters winning it a year or 2 years later. That really helped establish some things. So it's been rolling since then, and it's been a fun ride. But it's the kids do it. The kids hit the shots. But I think the mindset and having that discipline and that desire to build something great, and then have people support it, and have a plan has been a big part of it.
So you talk about the mindset and whatnot. One of my brothers told me in the camps that you guys had a slogan and had some T-shirts several years ago. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we've had a couple of them. We haven't done that in a couple of years. I need to get back to getting some kind of a slogan or some kind of purpose back to us a little bit through little sayings like that. But Jim Fannin, a sports psychologist and a life coach out of Chicago, I've become very good friends with over the years, and he's helped me grow as a coach. He's worked with a lot of NBA coaches and people around the country, but he's been awesome to us and our team. And we were talking one day, and we started talking about this PhD thing. PhD to most people sounds like it's a white collar hierarchy, type, condescending view of the world, that you're smarter than everybody else. But we didn't view it that way. We viewed PhD as being poor, hungry, and determined. And we think, and if you break it down, that's what all successful people start out as, or people trying to build themselves up. And you have to be fighting for something that means a lot to you. And you can't be entitled. You can't be soft. You can't make excuses. And if you approach that from the PhD standpoint of being poor, hungry, and determined, and not letting anybody get in your way to make yourself have a better life, I think that's the foundation for anybody to improve in any course of life for themselves. So we kind of grabbed a hold of that, and it kind of fit our mindset anyway. It kind of fit our personality that we had developed over the years of thinking that golf is a competitive sport and knowing it is. It's not something where I think people get a misconception of golf as a as an entitlement, as a sport that's for the elitists. And to be good at this game, it's really not. It's really a down and dirty blue collar sport. It can be so mentally tough to play this game. And I think people see the guys on the PGA Tour got their nice slacks on, their beautiful shirts on, and they got this beautiful swing, and they hit these big, beautiful shots all the time. And they think that's what being great in golf is. And that's not anywhere close to what being great in golf is. Golf is being really good and competitive and successful. It's getting dirty. It's getting down. It's handling bad thoughts and bad lies and all this adversity. And it's just things stinging you all the time, how to, trying to bring you down. And you have to be so strong and mentally tough and really grounded and blue collarish to fight through this thing, even though it's on a white collar atmosphere. So the Golf Channel picked up on a quote I said one time right before we got on our national championship run, or I think the year we finished second, I think, that I wanted our guys to project a blue collar mentality within a white collar sport, perceived as to be. And I think we fed off that for a few years, and I think that's something we need to get back at doing a better job of right now currently is to really get down and dirty and don't look behind. Stay with what you're doing now and compete at the fullest. And golf's a very competitive sport. It includes the mental and physical sides of everything. It's a holistic sport where you can't take any time off, and you have to be so strong mentally and competitive and just hungry. And that's kind of where that came from.
That's a great answer, and that kind of brings into what we're dealing with now. I mean, I know for you guys, golf is closed in Illinois. I know you've got a few players that are from Illinois. You've got players from all over the world. How are you keeping in touch with them? And for those guys maybe who are in Illinois, what are they doing to stay sharp and stay competitive?
Yeah, this is tough for our team right now because we are a close team. But we're a close team because we believe in each other and we trust each other. So I don't think we need to stay in contact every day to show we care about each other. I think they know that. I think we're close enough to where there is that unconditional love and support for each other, that they trust each other's working hard and thinking of each other. But I don't think we need to have Zoom calls all the time. And we don't have to stay in touch like some people are doing or some people think we should do. I think we've developed that culture where I think we're strong enough to fight through that. But at the same point in time, they know I'm here if they need me. And if they're working on their game, I got some guys in Arizona and Florida and around got Indiana's even open for golf. So they're playing, they're calling and giving me updates and asking what's going on and keeping in touch. But the guys in Illinois can't play golf. So, I feel for those guys. And I think I got 4 or 5 in the state right now. Two of my international players are staying in the state. So they can't get out and play. So you just try to keep their minds right and keep their sanity, if you will. But they're all positive kids, and they get it. So we'll get through this thing. But they know that each of us is right there if they need us. But we're not bothering each other and stalking each other and just making I mean we're respecting their time and
sure.
But they know if they need us, they can call us.
Nice. So looking at your results from this year and I'm sure the fall wasn't quite what you had hoped, but you got off to a pretty good start this spring. What do you think changed maybe from the fall to the spring to was there a switch that was flipped, or what kind of happened in that in between time that they started? And we all know golf is a game of upticks and down cycles and whatnot, but was there anything that really sparked the spring?
I don't know if it was one thing, but they woke up. I mean, the mindset changed. We had a lot more talks this fall than we've ever had in the last 15 years, 10, 12 years maybe. it was our worst fall on paper that we've had in, like I said, 12 or 15 years. And the summer that our team had didn't really build momentum for the fall either. I think that's important for players to understand, that the momentum you build in the summer and the ability to compete in amateur events is huge for college golf. But college golf is huge for those amateur events too, because you learn throughout the fall and spring with your team and you're growing. And then you're supposed to take that momentum and take it yourself and not have a coach breathe down your neck every day and explain to you what to do. You have to go out and do it yourself. And the great players I've had in the past have really had successful summers and built momentum and built their brand and built their ranking, if you will, and have improved. And this last year, that didn't happen. And I think we only had one player in the USAM, which usually we have 7 or 8 guys in that thing. So there wasn't a lot of momentum being built for whatever reason. And that's coming off of the national championship we played last year. Again, 12 in a row. I think the current record is 13 by Texas. So we're second in the nation in consecutive NCAA appearances. So we built momentum up all last spring to that. We didn't play very well at the nationals, which it happens sometimes. But then it just kind of stayed with us stagnant all summer. And then last fall, I thought we came in a little bit maybe overconfident and thinking that it's been going good for so long that it would just happen. And it didn't. So I think that was a big learning experience for our team. We talked about mindset a lot and about accountability. And sure, there were physical parts of our game that needed to get better. There were parts of our game we weren't putting enough emphasis on individually and as a team to compete. So we worked our way through those. But really it came down to mindset, that we had to show up and compete and get back to that PhD mentality that you touched on earlier a little bit, and just man up and compete. And this year I thought the mindset was a lot better. And we came out and we finished second in Alabama against a bunch of Southern schools, just lost to Florida State by a shot, had a chance to win, didn't close it out, but we were competitive, and then went to Hawaii and had a chance to win there too. Kind of fumbled the ball at the end a little bit and finished 4th, but out of 20-some teams. So our ranking jumped up 20 spots, and we were getting back to some momentum, which is kind of a bummer why the season ended and how it ended up like it did, because I thought we were going to finish strong again, in my opinion. But the mindset had changed, Mike, and I think that's everything. Mindset's everything. It's everything in life. It's everything in relationships. It's everything, and even in your own relationship with yourself. And I thought we were a little bit overconfident, a little bit soft, entitled a little bit, and we were on the wrong side of the spectrum to be good. And we talked a lot about that. And I was happy for our guys that responded to that, because sometimes guys will try to respond and try harder and harder and actually get worse. But you have to let it soak in, have a lot of self-reflection, be honest with yourself, and then get back to the basic stuff that made you the player you are, and then build momentum out of that. But I thought the practices were better in the spring in our facility, and the attitudes were better. The mindsets on the road were better. So it was tracking the right direction. But I think if you boil it down to, it was just mindset and getting back to who we are.
Nice. So I think sometimes people, and obviously a lot of people that are listening here, kind of understand the role of a college coach. And golf, I think, is probably a little different than a lot of other sports. But one thing that I get a lot of times when I'm working with juniors who maybe are kind of new to golf, and they go out and they make a team, and they're like, well, the coach didn't really help them a whole lot. And it's especially at a junior high and a high school level, most of those coaches are not golf professionals. Some of them aren't even necessarily great golfers. They're bus drivers. Kind of speak about your role as far as a coach. I mean, if people don't know, when someone shows up to play for you, they're ready to play for you. They're wanting to not only compete at your level, but they've got a goal of being a PGA Tour professional or European Tour professional. They're not there for you to make their golf swing better. That's a fair statement?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm there to help. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I mean, it's like they've come with some pretty good skills, and you're looking to sharpen those skills, not overhaul those skills.
Yeah, I think that's made apparent in the recruiting process. I think coaches have to really be honest with the kids in the recruiting and what their expectations are. And I think to dummy it down in a sense, I don't want Illinois Golf to become a golf academy. It's not where you come to learn how to swing it better. I mean, sure, we get better at swings. We work on golf swings when we have to, but you come here to be a champion. You come here to learn how to win. You come here to learn how to prepare yourself for the next stage of a possible life in golf. Yeah, we're not creating problems. either. I'm not big on creating problems. We're not going to overhaul things that aren't broken, but I think some of the things that coaches run into problems are sometimes they talk too much and they try to coach too much and try to think like they're helping somebody. And I've fallen into that trap a few times too. You want to help somebody so much you can almost create problems. And I think some of the best coaching in the world has been done by maybe not saying as much. I've worked with Butch Harmon on my game probably a dozen times over the years at majors and different things. We become friends, and I think that's where he's so special in an instructor is he knows the golf swing, he knows how to swing the golf club. But number one, he's got really good players he works with. But number two, he inspires them and builds confidence in them and is honest with them. And I like to think that we're kind of all along those lines, that we've had success over 20 years is because I think kids come here knowing what the expectations are. They're not coming here just to hope they're good. They're coming here, they need to know that we're where we profess to be. But at the same point in time that we're going to help them get from point A to point B, but they have to have the engine and the motor that does it. We can help them stay on that line, that more straight line to success, but we're not miracle workers and that we're going to overhaul their game and all of a sudden hit them with some pixie dust and they're going to be great. Kids think that. They see our results and they see all these championships and all these runs we've had, and they think they're just going to be good because they're here. And that's not the way the whole thing works. I mean, the success in golf is directly related to the effort you put into it and the confidence you put behind it. And so I think a coach needs to build that confidence, inspire that confidence through honesty. If you tell a young person or young player they're always good. I think parenting, maybe that's a problem because parents are always so positive and so encouraging, which is great. But when kids hear something so much, it loses its meaning after a while, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
Not everybody's perfect. And if you're honest with somebody and you're telling them that they're not good at something, they're not perfect at it, and they're actually to self-reflect and digest that suggestion, that's when you get better. So I think as a coach, you build them up when they're good and you inspire them and you tell them the truth and you motivate them. But when they're struggling or not doing something right or not practicing correctly or they're not living their life or playing golf like champions should, you let them know that. And then I think the good ones step back, reflect, continue the dialogue and make adjustments. And being a coach that's played and at the highest level, and I've had success in majors and the highest level, and I've won national tournaments, but I've also struggled and I've missed cuts and I've shanked balls in front of 10,000 people and I've missed cuts. I've done it all. I think that commands some respect that, I know what's good and bad and I can be honest with them and I know good golf. The biggest thing I can bring to the equation as a player and a coach and this experience is I know what good golf is. And I think the young kids need to learn what good golf is. And once they learn what it is, they can aspire to get there. Because a lot of these kids don't know what good golf is. They don't really know. They've never lived it or been taught that. Not all of them, but I'm saying some of them. And that's something that I think is a big thing I like to do here is let them know where they need to go, how they need to get there, and then join arms, but they have to do the work. But I'm not going to create problems. I'm not going to sit there and sometimes they want more out of me. And I'm just, no, that's not the way you learn. Sometimes you got to try to, figure it out. And sometimes you sit back, keep your mouth shut, and them trying to piece it together is more productive than me barking orders.
So going back to what you brought up, Butch Harmon, you've obviously played at the highest level and whatnot. Who are some of the people that you took a lot from as far as instructors and whatnot over the course of your career?
A lot of them. I mean, I've been very fortunate. When I was a young player in Danville, Bob Hare, the pro at where I grew up, inspired me to play golf. He's just a wonderful person. I think every player at a high level has an affection or affinity for the guys that helped them when they were younger. Because that was golf at its purest form. That was fun. That wasn't a business thing. It wasn't trying to take your knowledge from some coach and turn it into money. It was just, I want to get better and enjoy this challenge. And I love the game of golf. So, Bob was great. And then Neil Moore has a big influence in my life. Obviously, you worked for Neil, and that's how me and you met, obviously, in Danville.
Yeah.
Neil was a big part of changing my game. In college, if he hadn't helped me improve my golf swing as a junior in college, I wouldn't be playing golf right now because I was stuck in the old 1970s move, kind of under it, slide and flip. And he got me into getting more on top of it and more of the Jimmy Ballard type move that was hot at that time, which I needed the counterbalancing of my swing. So when Neil helped me, and then I had success in college my last year and a half, which gave me the chance of the identity, the ability to maybe turn pro. So Neil's been a great friend anyway, but golf-wise, he's done more for me than he probably realizes. And then I've worked with a number of pros over the years. I mean, lots. And they've all been good friends. And as a pro, you feel a little guilty sometimes because you're trying to accumulate so much knowledge out of people that, you work with some great people like, Mike Adams, who's been great with me over the years. I mean, I still talk to Mike, and he's busy, I'm busy, but, you just wish you could see him every day, but you can't. So you take information here and there, and then you got guys like Ron Gring in Alabama, who's great, and I mentioned Butch, who's kind of just embraced me back in a couple majors I played in early, and we kept a relationship going. I can call him whenever I want. E.A. Tischler now up at Olympia Fields has been a good sounding board for me the last couple of years and helped me rehaul some things. So, and I'm sure I've skipped some people. I mean, guys like John Rhodes back in the day. I was always these players that practiced so much that I almost had to be told to slow down a little bit and quiet your mind down and don't try to learn so much. And I try to impose that on my guys today. Some of these kids on my golf team think that the more knowledge they accumulate, the more lessons they get. It directly relates to how good they're going to be or how their improvement. And they think the more knowledge I get, the better I am. And that's not the way it works. And I learned that lesson a long time ago. You have to just sit back and process it yourself. Take information, take ideas, and formulate them to get better, and not own somebody else's golf swing. Own your own. So all this help I've had through these guys over the years has been great. I just wish, you could sustain those relationships longer, but everybody's doing their thing and you're all trying to get better and move around. But I know I know almost all the great teachers. I mean, I remember working with Mike Shannon back 20 years ago on my putting, 25 years ago on my putting. Guys before they were anybody I used to hang out with and know. And there's many people I haven't mentioned, but it's just one of those things where it's helped me become the coach I am, I think, all that knowledge.
Sure. So a couple more real quick and I'll let you go, because I know you got things going on. So you've had a chance to play all over the world. What is, if you can narrow it down to maybe one or two, what is your favorite golf course that you've had the opportunity to play?
Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach.
Yeah, I it's just the history, the beauty, the variety, the difficulty of the golf course in different conditions. When the wind blows from every different condition, it's a whole different golf course. It could be easy one day. It could be the hardest golf course you've ever seen the next. And the history, the championships, and then the beauty is unmatched in my opinion. Now, there's some great golf courses out there, but for me, I love Pebble. If I could play it every day, I'd love it.
And going back to all over the world, did you have the opportunity to play on every continent?
No, I didn't. I haven't done that. No. But I played a lot.
Yeah.
The old joke I heard somebody say it one time, and it's true. It applies to me. It's like I've almost played every tour in the world except the LPGA tour. Back in the day, I played in Africa, and I played in Asia, and I played in Europe. So maybe I have not played in Australia. No.
Okay.
But back when I was trying to make it, I had some great support, some great people that backed me, and that was before club companies would really endorse you and pay many tour players some money to play. So I was fortunate to have the ability to do that, which goes back to a gentleman named Art Wyatt, who was without his support, I would never be where I'm at because I wouldn't have had the finances to play. And I had a conglomeration of people from Danville. Old Lou Mervis helped me back in the day, and all those people helped me be able to do and play and go to these great places and accumulate this experience of playing all over the world in different competitions. And without those guys, again, I wouldn't be here either. So without the teachers and the support, and golf's, it's an individual sport, but you can't do it alone. And I think even my old college golf coach, Ed Beard, for what he did for us, it's everything is it's an individual sport, but you need an army to do it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last thing. Any words of wisdom for young golfers that want to make the jump to play college golf and hopefully play professionally?
Oh, I could talk for 2 hours on that. So they're all different. Everybody's got their own strengths. Everybody's got their own background, the way they go about doing business. But ownership, accountability, strong-mindedness, the ability to gravitate towards positive people, not negative people. Kids tend kids' self-images need to be stronger in a lot of ways. I think they think they're good. They don't know they're good, if that makes sense. And never give up on your dream and compete. And just because one school doesn't want you or one school doesn't have room for you doesn't mean there's not another one out there. And there's so many different golf programs in Division 1, 2, 3, junior college, NAIA. There's so many great places you can go. And if you learn to make it what it is out of what it is and stay in the positive side, you'll be successful. If you're always looking for something that's always a little bit better, you may never find it. So, you know, stay grounded, stay positive, stay focused, stay accountable, stay hungry. Look at yourself for the answers. Look in the mirror every night and tell yourself you're good and believe it. And then have the ability to just, you know, just fight for your dreams and be competitive. You know, golf is just competitive. It's just an avenue to compete. You know, the engineering school at Illinois is an avenue to compete. Those guys are competing academically and they're very smart, one of the best in the world. But they're competing the same way we're competing. So find something you love to do, and if it's golf or if it's accounting or if it's whatever it is, compete, and don't let anybody stand in your way, and bring it every day. And that's kind of what it boils down to in a lot of ways.
Nice, great answer. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate you coming on, and good to talk to you, buddy. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yep, Zed. Enjoy the times we had together, and
yeah, no doubt.
Anvil days, and your hair's looking good there, buddy.
Hopefully, when all this ends, I'm going to get it cut and give it to somebody who really needs it. So
I know you told me that's for a great cause.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, we'll see.
All right, we'll talk to you.